as you tell over the next 24, 48, 72 hours or so, these shocking stories where at one point one of the investigators, when you're asking, you don't even know why you're there, and finally this particular investigator says you're under arrest for first-degree kidnapping, first-degree robbery, first-degree attempted murder. What do you remember about that moment, or how did you experience that moment?
You know, I was hurt. If I'm going to be honest with you, and I believe in honesty, my mom had brought us up to believe that the police was your friend. She used to tell us if we ever go somewhere and we get lost or whatever, always try to find a police officer. They are there to protect you. They are there to help you. And so when these detectives was arresting me, and I said, well, you got the wrong person. I haven't done any of that. He said, let me tell you something right now. I don't care whether you did or didn't do it. He said, well, I'm going to make sure you found guilty of it. And I said, for a crime I didn't commit? He said, you must have a hearing problem. Then I just tell you, I don't care whether you did or didn't do it. And I seen at that moment, this man was not going to listen to reason. He was not interested in anything I had to say. And after a while, I kept trying to convince him that I could never take another human being's life or anything. He finally looked at me and he said, let me tell you something right now. He said, since you're being honest with me, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, I truly believe you didn't commit the crime. He said, but since y'all, and he made sure I understood what y'all meant. Since y'all is always helping one another, since y'all are always taking up for one another, why don't you take this rap for one of your homeboys who truly committed the crime? And with tears coming down my eyes, I wiped away the tears and I said, officer, there's not a homeboy in this world I would take a rap for like that. And that detective walked off and shut the door and left me now puzzled with, what is this all about? He just made a statement to me that he truly believed I didn't commit the crime. So why am I here? And I had to sit in that cell and ponder that and ponder that and ponder that for even to this day. I still think about the day that he looked me in my eye and told me that. The first thing that I knew I had to do is somehow I tried to make my mind believe that this cell was larger than what it is. And I remember closing my eyes and saying, this got to be the biggest cell I ever seen. And I was trying to convince myself of that. But when I opened my eyes, it just still was the same. If luck would have it, and I use that word, the day that I got there, they was in the process of executing a man. And I never had witnessed, never thought, never heard of someone being executed, but they had execution scheduled for that Thursday night. About 11:45, the men began to beat, and I was wondering what's going on now. And they would take their cups and just rattle on the bars and start beating, but just beating. And about
All the men in death row were
all the
doing this.
men, all the men. I mean, they beat it and beat it. And about 12:15 is when they stopped. After a while, a guard would come and say, hey, it's over with. He's gone. And I didn't know because I was just getting there. That was their way of saying, we are with you until the very last. Or we don't know who is in the death chamber with you, who is there, whether you got family, friends, or who, but we want you to know that we are with you regardless. And the last thing we want you to hear is us beating on the bars for you. And so after that first execution, I asked a guy that was next to me, I said, what is that all about? And he told me. And after that, I can honestly say I didn't say nothing else to nobody for about 3 years. Henry was a Ku Klux Klansman. His father was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan in Alabama. And when you come to death row, nobody know what you done. Nobody know really who you are. And the cell next to me was empty, and they put Henry in it. I told Henry my name was Ray, and he told me his name was Henry. And I said, well, I'm not going to welcome you to death row, but you're here. I said, if ever you need anything, please feel free to ask me. If I got it, you're more than welcome. I said, not only me, but any of these guys around you, we are a family here. Getting to know Henry, was told and informed that Henry was a Ku Klux Klansman, and Henry had did a horrible crime. A black man had got found not guilty in Birmingham for killing a white police officer. The Klan was up in arms, and Henry's father gave his son an order to go out and kill the first African-American male that he came across.
Oh, Lord.
And I kept wondering, where was that village that we love to talk about? Where was that village that said it takes a village to raise a child? Where was that village when this young boy was being taught hate? Where was that village when he went to school and was allowed to say all kind of racist words and use race appetite the way he wanted? Where was that village? Well, that village was nowhere to be found, and that village came out when he was apprehended, and that village sit on the jury box, and that village found him guilty, and that village said, this would be a better world if you wasn't in it. And they sentenced my friend Henry to die. And over the course of the years that Henry was on death row, I said, Henry, I want you to be who you think you are. Henry, I want you to use whatever words you want to use. Believe me, there's no repercussion in whatever you say. You have the freedom to speak as you want to. I wanted to prove to Henry that I was nothing the way that his father, his community, or anyone else had told him I was. And Henry did use the N-word, and Henry said it proudly. I still talk to Henry every day. And within 10 years, Henry had stopped using the N-word. And Henry began to see that everything that his father had told him was a lie. Mm. And I said, Henry, my mother loved me, for my mother always been truthful to me. I said, Henry, I'm not going to tell you your father didn't love you, but I believe he didn't love you enough to tell you the truth. I said, Henry, racism is passed down from generation to generation. I said, the fact that you was your father's son and you was perhaps going to have children and you was supposed to pass it down. Now it become 11:30 and they come in and they get Henry and they allow us to embrace for the first time. I embraced Henry and I looked at him and I said, Henry, I want you to know that I love you. I want you to know that I believe God. I know love you. I said, and I hope you have asked God for forgiveness. And he said, Ray, I've been asked God to forgive me. And I said, well, you know what, Henry? I truly believe that one day you and I will see each other again. They took him away and they put him in the chair. And they asked Henry, did he have any final words? And I would never forget Henry's final words. He said, all of my life, I was taught to hate. All of my life, my mother taught me hate. My father taught me hate. My community taught me hate. And the very people that they taught me to hate for the last 15 years have shown me nothing but love. And tonight, as I leave this world, I leave this world now knowing what real love feels like. And they executed my friend Henry.